Let's play a word association game. If I say giraffe, you think long neck. Elephant? Big ears. Kangaroo? Hop. Most animals have a gimmick. They're a collection of normal evolutionary traits that happen to look a little funny. But then, there is the sperm whale. If you try to describe the sperm whale, you run out of adjectives. It is the largest toothed predator on Earth. It has a brain the size of a bowling ball times 5. It clicks so loud it could theoretically vibrate a human body to death. And it sleeps vertically, drifting through the abyss like a haunted monolith. There is a reason this animal was the villain in Moby Dick. It isn't just a whale, it is a biological anomaly. Nothing about the sperm whale is normal. And today, we're diving into the true story of how evolution took a perfectly normal mammal and turned it into an alien living in our own oceans. Let's start with the obvious. Look at this thing. If you saw a sperm whale at a cocktail party, you would cross the street to avoid it. The head of a mature male makes up 1/3 of its entire body length. Let me put that in perspective. Imagine you are a 6-foot-tall human. Now imagine that from your belly button up to the top of your head, that's 2 feet of man and 4 feet of just forehead. Scientists call it the spermaceti organ. Whalers called it the case. And this is where the story gets weird. And a little awkward. Inside this massive, boxy head is a reservoir filled with up to 1,900 liters of a clear, liquid wax. That's 500 gallons of oil floating on top of their skulls. When whalers first cracked open these heads, they saw this milky white substance. They made an assumption, a wrong assumption. They thought it was the whale's reproductive fluid. Sperm. Yes, we named the largest predatory whale on the planet after a misconception about whale semen. That is like naming a lion Mr. Fluffy Paws because you misread the label. But here is the truth, and it is way cooler than whale junk. This oil isn't just fat, it is a biological superweapon. It is a hot swappable ballast system. The whale takes water from the freezing depths, runs it through their nose to cool the blood going to the head, and the oil solidifies into a solid wax. This makes them heavier so they can sink. When they want to surface, they warm up the blood, melt the wax back into oil, and bam, instant buoyancy. They are the only animal on Earth with a built-in hydraulic press in their face. It allows them to do what they do best, dive into the abyss. We are talking about dives of 2,250 meters. That's nearly 1.5 miles straight down. The pressure down there is 2,300 pounds per square inch. That is enough to turn a steel submarine into a tin can. But the sperm whale? It just goes. It holds its breath for 90 minutes. It hunts in total darkness. Because nothing about them is normal. To survive in that darkness, you need a superpower. The sperm whale chose sound. We call this echolocation. Dolphins do it. Bats do it. But a bat clicks at about 110 decibels. That's loud. That's a rock concert. The sperm whale clicks at 236 decibels. Let me explain physics for a second. In the air, 194 decibels is the loudest sound possible. Beyond that, it stops being sound and starts being a shockwave. It would blow your lungs out. Underwater, the sperm whale fires a click that is 40 decibels past that limit. This is not a sound, it is a sonic cannon. Their prey is the giant squid, legendary monster, huge eyes, tentacles with hooks, up to 40 feet long. The sperm whale finds it by firing a bullet of sound from its massive forehead. The click travels for miles, bounces off the squid's body, and comes back. The whale listens. But here's where it gets terrifying. If a human being were in the water next to a clicking sperm whale, the sound pressure wouldn't just deafen them. It would shake their internal organs apart. It would vibrate the calcium in their bones. It would literally cause their lungs to hemorrhage.
The sperm whale doesn't need teeth to kill you. It could just think really loudly in your direction, and you would die. And yet, they use this power to hunt slippery, glowing squids. It's like using a nuclear bomb to play laser tag. All that sound has to go somewhere, and it goes into the largest brain the animal kingdom has ever produced.
A human brain weighs about 3 pounds. The sperm whale's brain weighs 20 pounds. It is the single largest known brain in the history of life on this planet. Bigger than the dinosaurs, bigger than anything. And here is the mystery that keeps marine biologists up at night. Why? Why does a fish eater need a brain 5 times heavier than ours? The whale doesn't have to pay taxes. It doesn't have to write poetry. It just eats squid and clicks. But look closer. The sperm whale has something we thought only humans and great apes had. Spindle neurons. These are the brain cells responsible for love, for suffering, for social bonding, for rapid decision-making. We thought they were unique to us. It turns out, the sperm whale has had them for millions of years. This brain fuels a society we are only just beginning to understand. They live in units of mothers and babies, like a herd of elephants, but the males go off and live solitary lives. They speak in dialects. Depending on which ocean you are in, the Caribbean, the Pacific, the Atlantic, the sperm whales speak a different language. They have regional accents. And they have names. When a sperm whale introduces itself, it doesn't just whistle. It uses a unique rhythmic sequence of clicks, a coda. Every whale has one. They share these codas. They build alliances. They sleep. But they don't sleep like us. Look at this. When a sperm whale dreams, they hang upside down in the water column, completely still, completely vertical. They look like bizarre ancient ruins. They do this for about 10 to 15 minutes at a time. Then they wake up and dive back into the black. They are the closest thing we have to extraterrestrial intelligence on Earth, and they are living in our backyards. If you think their biology is weird, wait until you hear about their waste management. The sperm whale eats giant squid. Giant squid have beaks, hard, sharp, parrot-like beaks that cannot be digested. If those beaks stayed in the whale's gut, they would shred its intestines like a blender full of knives. So the whale has a solution. It produces a sticky, waxy, pungent sludge. The whale coats the squid beaks in this gloop. It vomits some of it out, like an owl pellet, but the rest festers. It bakes in the whale's gut for decades. Eventually, the whale poops it out, or it vomits it up. And this floating lump of vomit and feces drifts in the ocean for 100 years. The sun bleaches it, the salt cures it, the sea smooths it, and when it washes ashore, it turns into ambergris. Look at this stuff. It looks like a rock. It smells, well, actually it smells incredible. It has a sweet, earthy marine scent. It is perhaps the most valuable bodily waste product on the planet. Historically, the ultra-rich used it as perfume. It makes the scent last longer on your skin. A single kilogram of fresh ambergris can sell for $50,000. We are talking about whale vomit that is worth more than gold. Try to imagine trying to explain this to an alien. Yes, we drove this creature to near extinction, killed it for the oil in its head, and now we hunt its beaches for fossilized dung to spray on our necks so people will find us attractive. Nothing about the sperm whale is normal, but maybe we are the weird ones.
Which brings us to the darkness. The true story of the sperm whale isn't just biology, it's history. In the 19th century, we went to war with them. The sperm whale was the gasoline of the Industrial Revolution. That oil in their heads greased the machines, lit the lamps, and made the rich richer. But the sperm whale fought back. We all know Moby Dick.
We think it's fiction, a metaphor, an obsession. It wasn't. In 1820, a whaling ship called the Essex was sailing the Pacific. A massive bull sperm whale, estimated at 85 feet long, rammed the ship. Not an accident, a calculated attack. The crew of the Essex had been hunting a pod of whales. They harpooned a baby. The mother was somewhere else. But the Essex records say that an enormous bull, presumably the protector of the pod, swam towards the ship. It paused. It looked. According to the captain, the whale did not thrash wildly. It swam with purpose. It sped up, and it struck the hole with its massive oil-filled head. Then it backed up, and it struck again. The Essex sank in minutes. The crew resorted to cannibalism in the lifeboats. It is the most famous maritime disaster in history. And it happened because the sperm whale is the only animal on Earth that seems to understand revenge. We are not talking about instinct. We are talking about a 50-ton animal assessing a threat, identifying the source of the threat, the ship, not the boats, and using its body as a projectile to neutralize it. That is not an animal. That is a personality.
Today, the story of the sperm whale is changing. We don't hunt them for oil anymore. We've discovered plastics and electricity. But the ghosts of the whaling era still haunt them. The #1 killer of sperm whales today isn't killer whales or giant squid. It's ship strikes. They need to surface to breathe. They sleep near the surface sometimes, and we run them over. We flood their world with noise. Our cargo ships, our Navy sonar, it creates a wall of sound that drowns out their 236 decibel clicks. It is like trying to see while someone shines a flashlight in your eyes. But there is hope. Scientists are now using artificial intelligence to decode their language. We think they have syntax. We think they have names. We are on the verge of being able to talk to the creature with the biggest brain on the planet. What will we say to them? Sorry for the harpoons? Sorry for calling you a walking sperm bank? Or maybe we just listen. Because when you look at the sperm whale, the vertical sleeper, the sonic cannon, the 50-ton floating paradox, you realize something humbling. Evolution didn't stop at us. Evolution made a masterpiece of the deep. An animal that solved the problems of pressure, of cold, of darkness, of gravity. We struggle to survive in a swimming pool. They thrive in an abyss that would crush us into paste. So the next time you look at the ocean, remember, it's not empty down there. There is something down there. It has a brain bigger than yours. It speaks in clicks. It dreams standing up. And nothing about it is normal.